The school run is responsible for nearly a quarter of all cars on the road during morning rush hour. Aside from environmental issues, car travel is also contributing to the rise in childhood obesity as fewer children walk or cycle to school. Currently, only 2% of children cycle to school in this country. Sustrans, the UK's leading sustainable transport charity, has stepped in to sort this out. Bike It is a groundbreaking project which has already quadrupled the number of children cycling to its target schools. This film will focus on Hummersnott Secondary School in Darlington, where the number of children cycling to school has risen by 70% over the last 2 years.
Put the patch over the hole, just squish it down.
This morning, Hummersnott is holding a Bike It breakfast as part of its Love Your Bike Day, a reward given to pupils who have come to school by bike. As a Bike It officer, Vicky Hill helps Hummersnott to promote cycling amongst students.
Well, I'm a Bike It schools officer, and my job is to literally go into schools and try to get them to cycle to school. It began nearly exactly to the day 3 years ago with 4 Bike It officers based in 4 parts of the country. And our idea literally was to go ahead and start encouraging children to cycle. This is something that nobody needed to worry about 30 or 40 years ago because an awful lot of people naturally went on their bicycles everywhere, adults included.
Everything's great. Okay, what we're going to do is when people start coming, if they've come on a bicycle, you guys need to give them a love heart sticker. That love heart sticker means they're entitled to a Valentine's biscuit.
Anybody want a biscuit? Vicky! Okay.
And anyone can have a drink, whether they've cycled or not.
We've had all manner of early morning Bike It breakfasts where anyone that comes in on a bike is rewarded with healthy food, organic, and plays games and gets used to the fact that cycling is celebrated and cycling makes them special. That's really important.
Right, that's fine, Sam.
Right.
You pulse 100 beats per minute.
Right.
It's increased from 85 beats per minute when you're resting. So that's quite a difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how do you feel now?
A bit hotter.
A bit hotter.
I'm afraid this country isn't particularly good for children travelling in healthy ways. You can look at some European countries, such as Denmark, where up to 60% of the children cycle to school, and here it hovers around a rather dodgy 1 to 2%, which is was one of the worst figures in Europe.
First of all, everybody gets an I Love My Bike belt. Could you select your wonderful...
Hummersnott's done an awful lot itself. It's had to look very carefully at where all the children live, how it makes sense for them to travel to school. And then it's worked with the Bike It coordinator, it's worked with the council to get a brand new cycle path put in, and it's worked with pupils and parents to make sure that they take full advantage of the cycle training that's on offer through the Bike It scheme. And we've seen cycling go up, from 1% to 10%. And if it can be done at Hummersnott, I think there are an awful lot of other schools up and down the country where we can get 10% or even more pupils cycling to school. That would be fantastic.
If more people cycled instead of going in the car, then it cuts down on pollution a lot.
Of global warming, it helps with the stopping cars. It's just as good as cars for short distance. And it's more fun, much more fun.
It's good for the environment and it gives you exercise and wakes you up.
If you're in a car, you're enclosed really, but on a bike you can go anywhere and you're the one who controls it really.
Every school is required by the government to produce a travel plan, showing how it will reduce car journeys and improve health by 2010.
You can see we're going to have a much more secure site in terms of students will only come in this way and this way, and this will be for visitors.
Today, business manager Nigel Foster is meeting with the council's school travel plan officer.
New entrance here.
We could perhaps work with the Bike It crew to develop new signage for the routes.
Yeah, I think
that could be made some sort of competition for that.
Yeah, I think it'd be an excellent idea. The whole school signage and everything needs to be looked at, but particularly, as you say, from the point of view of entrances and with the new bike sheds going in. Yeah,
we were the first secondary school in Darlington to actually complete a school travel plan to look at how you kind of try and develop sustainable means of students and staff and visitors, governors, anybody coming to the school, to try and move them away from predominant use of cars. What we did initially to get the travel plan off the ground was we had a meeting with the school council and asked them for their views as to how they would like to actually take it forward. And it was the group of students that actually wrote the travel plan. So they drafted out a survey form which went out to all the students in school. We also sent one to all the parents, and as a result of that really determined the issues, because we were identifying why students, either how they came to school, whether they walked, came on the bike, came by car, bus or whatever, and what would actually attract them to changing that mode of coming to school.
When we started at Hummer's Knot, we found 25 bikes in an old shed hidden at the back of the school, and that was the amount of children cycling. I think one of our better counts in June was 120, and it averages at about 80 or 90 a day, which is quite an increase, and that's growing. And we have a 200-space bike shelter provided by the local authority, which is becoming dangerously near to full.
Right, this is the report Kate wrote last week. There were 51 bikes in here last week, and people were parking them generally neatly. Few weren't. Some don't have locks, and condition of the shed needs a good clean out. Someone should be watching it so that no bikes get damaged or take lights off, etc., etc. And generally students want a safer route into school, which the council's working on, by the way. So hopefully that will be sorted out. So let's have a count up today. Robert, could you give us a count?
Yeah, in secondary schools, one of the most valuable things I do is get a bike crew, a crack corps, and the other children look up to them. So as well as being a presence in school that they can report to me things that the students want, they also help me keep tabs because they're very keen.
90.
Well, that's really good news, Robert, because we don't have any of the year 10s in school at the moment, and normally they're one of the biggest cycling groups.
We always have a Bike It notice board so that all the events that we're doing are always visible to all the children in the school. The Bike It crew look after that.
Once a month, the Bike It crew meets with Vicky to report back and discuss Bike It events.
Hi guys.
How's it going? Right, we've got loads and loads to talk about as usual because we've got a really exciting day tomorrow, and I need you all to help me and all be ready and full of energy and cycling like crazy, okay? So now all the stuff that we've been doing in preparation for this, let's just go through that and see if that's been done. Notice board, girls. Does it need anything more doing into it to make it amazing?
Yeah, I think we're going to get some pictures of bikes and stick them up.
Is that happening?
Yeah.
Fantastic. We'll go and have a little look. The main thing we're looking for is enthusiasm. I mean, schools like this one, where we have absolutely passionate staff and an amazingly flexible head teacher who is prepared to just say, yes, let's give it a go. That's the main thing that we need.
Put them on after
Yes.
you get to school.
I think that would be a good idea.
But only if it's raining, because I'm going to ride to school with it on.
Right.
If it rains, I'm taking it off and in.
Robert, you might get a bit embarrassed riding school on a bright pink bike.
Well, guess what? Do we care about being embarrassed?
No.
Yes.
I mean, I think the Bike It approach has been really, really successful. And I think the reason that it's been so successful is that you've got a specific person who comes into the school, works with the school, gets to know the school, gets to know the pupils. So it's not just about delivering cycle training, it's about helping the school have a champion or make sure that in everything they do, they've got at the back of their mind, how can we use this to improve walking and cycling? And I think that's the main difference of the Bike It scheme. That's the main difference between a Bike It school and a school where you just get somebody coming in once a year. It's that constant support and constant encouragement and constantly bringing new ideas to bear.
This afternoon we're running our third mechanics workshop here with the super cool Jamie. Role models are vitally important. Jamie's an incredibly cool mountain biker and a mechanic. So as well as getting the children interested in seeing that, it can be a really cool thing to do, we're going to be teaching them the basics about bike maintenance. This is vital because at the moment children still sometimes see the bicycle as a toy.
You get a really big puncture, that's how it sounds. Not much fun.
So teaching them how to mend a puncture and showing them you can do it in 3 minutes flat is really valuable. It has an enormous effect on them.
Just keep going. Just tell me when you...
Yeah, there.
Yeah, found it. So you found it. So either listen for it or pass it by your lips. If you're at home, you can put it into the kitchen sink. Ask your mum first. put a bit of cold water in, feed the tube through, and you'll soon see bubbles popping out. These are called leeches, and they just have a little sticky back to them, just like a sticker. You just peel it off.
One of the things that we like to do as well is make them do a demonstration at an assembly of how quickly you can change a puncture. And then, of course, the other children realise that it's quite simple, and they really do feel good about themselves when you teach them the basics. And it also gives them authority over their bike. It makes them feel ownership of their bicycle and makes them treat the whole subject a lot more importantly. So, it becomes part of that whole, I'm a cyclist.
Got a chip on your bike, and it will go rusty eventually, especially with steel frames. Is to ask your mum for some clear nail varnish.
At Hummersnott, it's not just the pupils who are encouraged to ride. Teachers are joining in too.
It just seals it up and stops it from getting any worse.
Well, I've just moved to Darlington. Before I've lived 12 miles away, so I've had to drive every day. But I've just moved just outside town, so I thought I'd come, get my bike fixed and start cycling to school every day, and it'll encourage the children as well, and to get fit for myself.
In many ways, we feel children are safer on bicycles than other forms of transport, because these are skills they're learning for life. What people don't realise is that if you escort your child from A to B in a car, it has no idea what happens on a road. If you're on a bicycle dealing with real traffic and real dangers, if you do come to have a car at 17 or 18, you've got a hell of a lot more road sense than a child who's been escorted in a car.
Well, Robert has already got a lot of energy, but he's enthusiastic at going to school once he gets out. It means he enjoys doing that. If he had to walk to school, I know you don't like that, do you? So it means he could get there quicker, he's more enthusiastic, and he does seem to have more energy, especially coming home from school.
What did you do?
Shall we go and get some tea? Come on. Darlington Borough Council continues. They are giving more cycle routes around Darlington. That'll encourage more families to cycle, because I know that can be an issue. It's a bit scared about the cars, and the bad parking around the schools doesn't help. So if they can maybe get better cycle paths around the schools as well, that might encourage more families to do that.
We try to encourage everyone. Sometimes people think we're more about trying to get children to cycle, but it's everyone. We're trying to get everyone to cycle.
With the staff cycling in and the parents catching on to this, the children are going to follow pretty quickly. And if you've got parents cycling, you've really cracked it, because they can escort their child and see that it's nowhere near as dangerous as they thought it was going to be.
Bike It has grown over the last 3 years, and there are now 21 officers working with 150 schools. The government hopes that school travel plans will not only help to increase the number of children walking or cycling to school, but will also promote healthier lifestyles among staff and pupils.